Tyreek Hill's wearing a removable brace on his right hand, and it's causing major concern and panic. We'll talk about that in a minute. Kyler Murray's season in full effect. You got MHJ. You've got, there's this Smitty bunch that you might have heard about. There's a story of two lovely families that got joined on a t-shirt that Smitty made that will be potentially sold here very soon. Looking at two Smitty bunch families coming together to smash in 2024. Absolute smash. And Kyler and Marvin at the top and top left.
Let's go, mashed potatoes! Yeah, buddy.
That, Aiyuk, CD Lamb, and more. The Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally, live whenever news breaks. That show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Tyreek Hill spotted with a removable, keyword, removable brace on his right hand, protective brace. And more importantly, I think than that, because, that can mean a lot of things. Guys will wear a walking boot and then the next day they're out there running, cutting. Sometimes a player will end a game, go right into a walking boot for 2 or 3 days just to make sure they give themselves every single inch and minute and second to recover. And walking boots are really good to prevent any sort of, pain pain in the foot. But this is probably the most important concern to note. That this is from CBS. Dolphins Tyreek Hill spotted at practice wearing a hand brace, didn't catch any passes Tuesday. And because Miami Mike McDaniel was not speaking to the media today, we have no real strong clarification as to what in the heck's going on. So we do have to monitor this situation. I don't know that it's going to be a big deal. The footage of Tyreek on the sideline, absolutely animated and such, makes me feel like this isn't going to be a big thing. So, but monitor it. It definitely puts a little wrinkle in the old argument that Tyreek Hill, he's older, but he's probably the safest wide receiver to draft as the wide receiver 1 this year, because Lamb Chops is holding out. Hopefully not too much longer.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
But holding out does add injury risk percentages to his 2024 menu. And same thing for Jamar Chase, same thing for Brandon Aiyuk. So Hill was like, okay, he's older, he's got some injury risk, but maybe he's the least injury-prone player of the trio. And you got JJ with the wide receiver room or the quarterback room and the troubles there. I don't know what to make of this yet, but we're gonna stay on top of it. I would assume as of right now it's a nothing burger more than anything else. Is what my initial assessment would be of this situation. We got a super chat here. $20 hauler coming in from Dallas. Dallas says, can you show the Moonman Marsmen mid-season revenge tour list? I absolutely can. $20 hauler to you, young man, for dropping the 20 wad. Dallas to the moon.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 super chat. $20 super chat.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant
Saturn! Spaceman! Look at him. Look at those monsters. But Smitty. But Smitty, they're all such big names. I don't think this seems very bold. I don't think you're looking at the important aspects of every one of these individuals going so far beyond reason. Their ADPs are ridiculous. Every single one of these players could double their ADP, like go up half of the value upward, and it would still be potentially right where it needs to be or a steal. Hall going at 7, 8, 9 is ridiculous. Bijan 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He should be going 1. Kyron the second round should be going in round 1. Top 5. Achane should be at the 10, 11, 12 picks, and he goes around 2. Gibbs, now he's fallen to round 2. Hurts, Mahomes, these guys win leagues. And the Mars man, forget about it.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
I think it's locked in. First of all, the Saturn men list.
The Saturn men.
This is locked
One
in.
small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Never say never, but I cannot see this changing one single bit. Their ADPs won't change at all. So,
He's on a shuttle
and this,
to Mars.
I think this is locked in.
Mars man.
This is such a heavy hitter crew. And of course, Mars is a little bit closer
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
to the sun than Saturn, so Saturn's more solidified. It's bigger, stronger. It's further away. You know, to get to Saturn, people say Smitty, shouldn't closer be better? No, if you're gonna travel to Saturn, you've got some cojones the size of this room. Okay, it takes balls of steel to get on a shuttle and go to Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is for the big boys. Okay, and you go to Mars. Mars is further away from the sun than the moon. So we're talking about heavy hitters. They're a little bit more gamble-esque, if you will.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
But look at
Mars
him.
man.
I mean, look at him. Unbelievable.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly. in
Kincaid,
space.
McBride at the bookends. Very first name's McBride, very last name's Kincaid. They're going to be the bookends of this prediction board here. Dell to the moon. Coleman to the mother freaking moon. AR5, Stroud, 2 QBs on the board. Do it live. Cooper Kupp smashing leagues in round 3. You're winning leagues with Cooper Kupp in round 3 if you can get him there anymore. London, he was going like 12, 13. Now he's dropping to 15, 16. Back from being on Mars, back in the mix of being in the lineup because he's such a steal right now. Pop, Pacheco looking like a monster. Jacobs to the moon, top 6 to 10 running back. Stroud going in the 60s and 70s on underdog. Doesn't make sense at all. These are the men. These are the men. And the moon men, more risky, closer to the sun, but still doesn't mean they can't win a league as much. They're just riskier business, okay? So you can't consume all the moon men because what if you get the wrong ones? Not all are popping off in week number 1. Some of them are projects. Here are the moon men.
The moon man. Dropping loads in
Loads.
outer space.
Look at them. Rice and Worthy, absolutely winners. Risky? Sure. Could Rice get suspended for half a season? Sure. Could Worthy drop footballs and just be kind of a complex guy? Absolutely. Could Kyler Murray struggle? Probably not. But he's on the moon man list because his ADP is ridiculous. And we got news on Kyler in a second. Ridley is just, look, with Hopkins injured, even though Hopkins is said to be probably ready for week number 1, Ridley's going to take over this job and be really the main target share hog because Hopkins can't stay healthy at 75 years old. Devontae Smith playing a lot of slot. Guess who's in the top 5 pretty much all the time? A slot wide receiver for this offensive coordinator that's coming over in Kellen Moore and revamping everything in Philly. And this man's going to play a lot of slot. So guess who's going to be potentially in the mix for top 6 to 10 numbers all year long? That's Devontae Smith. DK Metcalf is going to go vertical in a Ryan Grubb, offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb from the Washington football team over in college football land. Comes over after creating a Penix Jr. absolute aerial attack monster, architecting everything that Penix Jr. did over in Washington, comes over and is now going vertical with 3 wide receiver sets, which will give DK all kinds of route tree options we've never seen. Chase Brown in the bottom left corner. Cuff him if you can to the man you see right there. And Zach Moss is not necessarily out of the mix of the starting job, but Brown is getting all the starting work, it seems. Ford, Chubb who? Chubb is not going to be anything till midseason, and even then they're bringing him back slowly. This is a running back 40. Ford has tremendous value. Fields of Dream. Remember when Fields was said to be in the Baker and Penix at the top? They're kind of like projects. Remember when we said as soon as, I think it was March 17, if I remember correctly. March 17. We came in and we said Fields will start week 1, and everyone said, well, how do we know? They said that Russell Wilson's going to be the guy, Smitty. I was told Russell Wilson will be the guy. How could that change? Maybe preseason. Maybe Russell Wilson wakes up with an injury. Maybe Fields goes out there and proves he's the better quarterback. Maybe Russell Wilson's so good at playing games and accuracy contests, you forget that when he's on the field, he turns into a pumpkin. This is it. This is it. Appreciate every single one of you being in here. I've got 4 more super chats. Appreciate you all. This one right here, super chat from Carrie with a $20 holler.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Okay, this one from Carrie says, 1 QB, we can keep 7 every year for as long as we want. Great information. Thank you. That I know it's more like a keeper dynasty mindset. I have Dak, Brees, ETN, Nico, Dell, Watson, Kincaid, and I have the 10th pick in a rookie draft, and I'm thinking JD5 is at the right play. Hard to know, Kerry, I'll be honest with you. At 10, I don't know who's on the board. Do I like Coleman over JD5? If I've got Dak, I consider it, but at the same time, JD5 is such a generational talent. This is a top. He could be the QB2 or QB3 in 2025. I don't want to say 1 because I think Mahomes, Josh Allen, and it hurts are such an amazing trio that like 1, they're rotating who could be the number 1. So I'm just going to say, like, let's put him on the QB4 shelf and just say, can he jump up and be 3? Could he jump up and be 2? Could he have a year, JD5, where he's 1? Could he be the consensus 1 for years? Anything's possible, but let's just set him right there on that tier, at the bottom of that QB1 tier with the big 3, and say in Dynasty, he might be QB4. With a lot of upside to be higher than that, but that's where his floor is maybe 5, QB5. That's how I feel about this kid, and so I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all, but it really does come down to when you're on the clock, can you even trade Dak away and improve your team tremendously? I think I'd maybe consider that. Assange says drafted QB, JD5, wide receiver Chase, Debo, Ridley, Adunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Coleman, running back Kyron, White, Mixon, K9, Benson, good team. Trade Javonte for Keon Coleman. Look, I love Javonte. I want to be rooting for him, but yes, I smashed the hell out of that Keon Coleman trade.
You've just been Smitty.
Doesn't mean I don't love Javonte. Doesn't mean I'm not cheering for Javonte, rooting for Javonte, hoping for Javonte, and trying to draft Javonte at cost where he's practically free. But Keon Coleman is a 6th to 7th rounder in best ball, 7, 8, 9 rounder in non-best ball. Just kind of depends on what grandmas you're drafting with, because sometimes people don't know he's coming, and that's fine. B-Man coming in with a $2 holler says McLaurin or Keon Johnson at wide receiver 3. I think he's mixing up Keon Coleman and Keyshawn Johnson. I take a little bit of offense to that, because some people, B-Men, have said that I think Keon Coleman might be the next Keyshawn Johnson, as if he's so limited. I'm not saying Keyshawn wasn't great, but he was a very limited player. He could do a few things. It was slant boy, like how we make fun of Michael Thomas. He could only do a few things. Like Keyshawn Johnson was that guy. He was very good. But Keon Coleman could be one of the most electric, dynamic players in the National Football League. So it's a little bit more of the St. Brown vein. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking Keon Coleman most likely over McLaurin, but they're both so good, bro. They're both absolutely electric players that have the potential to win you a league at the value you're taking them. So Keon Coleman's this year's Tank Dell, this year's Puka Nacua. I've said it over and over. I got a whole video on it. And don't tell me how to define the next Tank Dell, because you're looking at the man that invented Tank Dell. You're looking at the man who was higher on Tank Dell than anybody. And Tank Dell's dishing out Tank Dell specials all year long. The question is, are you going to allow yourself to be served a Tank Dell special?
One Tank Dell special, please. Coming right up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Prolific with a $20.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Prolific, appreciate you. Smitty, the GOAT from the 12 spot in the 12-team half PPR. Did I successfully deploy the tripod? Gibbs, Kyron Hurts, you did. You did, young man. You smashed the tripod. For those that don't know what the tripod is, let me enlighten you.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round one running backs and one of these running backs in round two. The tripod.
But Smitty, I was told drafting RB is not a thing anymore. Might not be a thing in your world, but you're riding on the fantasy football show train right now, pal. And it is a thing. It's what we do. It's how we go against the grain. And you can either be against the grain or you can be going with the grain. It's up to you. You know, everybody's got their thing. Do what you feel is right. Grain, no grain, up to you. We drive against traffic here on the channel. And running back is one of the most impressive ways to deploy a strategy in 2024 if best player available allows it, because we always, what do, everybody? We always draft best player available. We need a chant for that. Great job. London, Olave, McBride, Devontae Smith, Neighbors. Now you're just showing off. 12-team league, my rear end, bro. Like, what are we talking about? How do you have a tripod start? This is why you do the tripod. In a 12-man league, and you still land London, Olave, Devontae Smith, Neighbors? I don't think so, Prolific. I'm not calling cap on this, but I'm just saying the people in your draft are asleep at the wheel or don't have a pulse. Either way, you smashed it. Love the team. Not only did you Smitty approve, you may have gone too far over. And now you're Smitty disapprove because you went too far in the positive direction.
You've just been Smitty.
Sometimes you guys would be smart to leave off a few names when you smash a league like that, because then you're just going to get devalued. You know, your team's going to be like, nah. When it's too good, nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? Honey, with the $2 hauler to Smitty, should we cuff Gibbs and Monty? It's not really easy to cuff. They're more standalone grabs. But if you can cuff them, like if the value's there to be cuffed, abso-freaking-lutely. But it depends on who's there, because, you know, do I need Monty or do I need this wide receiver that's sitting there? Can I get Mahomes? Can I get, something like that going on, McBride or whatever? Then I don't know that I'm grabbing Monty, because I'd rather, fill in my lineup. 1.6 spot dynasty draft I called about. I got Stroud, Hall, Neighbors, Nico, DK, Ladd. Don't remember in that order. Okay, I don't fully remember. It's so hard for me to retain all these questions, but I kind of think I remember the call. So yeah, great team. Stroud, Hall, Neighbors, Nico, DK, Ladd, Henry, Ridley, Levis, Goddard in that order. So Levis is your QB2 in a super flex. Hey man, I think this is a super flex is what you're saying. But yeah, that great job. Stroud, Hall, Neighbors, Nico. Yeah, you couldn't have really. That's a really damn good crew there. That's fantastic. Superfish coming in with a $5 hauler. I'm going to throw that one right here. Hayden, I'm going to go to the news in 1 second. Let me get these super chats out of the way. Jesse with the $5 hauler. I have pick 4 in my main redraft league, assuming the best options will be Lamb, Hill, Hall, Bijan, Amon-Ra. Could you rank them? With Hill's new potential hand injury, which may be nothing, I assume it's nothing, I'm going to go Bijan, and then I'm going to go Hill still, or Bijan, Hall, Hill. But Bijan, Hill, Hall, or Hall, Hill, depending on if you want to go RB. And then I'm throwing Lamb back in there, injury risk and all. I'm still drafting Lamb chops. I'm tempted to say Lamb number 1 and Bijan number 1 still, but I think I still lean Hill. But it's super tough because now with the Hill hand injury, whatever, it makes it now like Hill doesn't stand out now. You know, they're all either injured or have injury risk. It's crazy. I almost would rather go RB this year. That's why I'd say Bijan, maybe Bijan and Hall, and go wide receiver later. I don't know. I just kind of worry about the situation this year with these wide receivers. Let's see here. Let me hit these super chats real quickly, and then we'll get right to the news because we still have news to get to. Kilpatrick with a $10 holler. Look at this man. Moonshot to you, Kilpatrick. You monster, you. 1.4, 1.7. I'm thinking JD5, then Worthy, but could get Rome, Adunze, and Keon going back and forth with it. Adunze, Keon. I probably go thinking JD5, then Worthy, but could get Rome and Keon. I'd probably say, look, Adunze is going to be so good, but Keon's got a better, he's got a better situation now. We don't know what it's going to turn into later. DJ Moore's not going anywhere, though, so it's crowded, and I'm not saying Keenan Allen will be there next year. We don't really know. We still don't know how it's going to develop there. For those that are riding high on the Caleb Williams scramble play, like, it's still a broken down offense, 4 straight drives in a row. Like, we don't know what Shane Waldron's going to be able to do. It doesn't look good so far in terms of their play calling, but, Caleb did scramble and make something of it, no doubt about it. But I still not, sold that Odunze is going to be consistent, but I really do like Odunze, mid-season monster later in the year. And I think he's a mid-season monster still. Let's just make sure and check, because I think at some point Keenan Allen's out. He's already weighing in at 230. When he's supposed to be 211, and then, good God, Adunze's just, he can run, he can catch, he's so good. I wish he was somewhere else. But Adunze, definitely a midseason monster, as is Ben Sinnott, Bowers, Burton, all these guys. But Adunze is going to be fire. But Keon Coleman might be amazing all year. I'm going to say Keon and JD5, but that's just me. 2 QBs have Dak, Rodgers, and Young. Especially in a super flex, bro. You got to go JD5. You have to. Thomas with a $5 holler. Appreciate the work. Redraft Cooper Kupp. DK. Good. Give me Cooper Kupp. Give me little Cooper Kupp. He's a smashing 3. You're winning Look, you're winning leagues with Cooper Kupp in 3. I'm really feeling good about it. Thoughts on Darnell Mooney? I'm excited to see what he can do, but I'm not counting on him at all. At all. But I'm certainly, I don't know if I've drafted him but once. Tyreek Hill, and that's hundreds of drafts. But I like Mooney. He's got to stay healthy, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I do like him. He's pretty intriguing. I think I need to draft more of them. I think at the tail end of a draft, depending on where he goes. Tyreek participated in parts of practice drills. Waddle should be good for week 1. Mike McDaniel's next press conference is tomorrow in Tampa. Yeah, he didn't speak today, as I mentioned, Superfish. So we have no real clear indication on the removable brace on Tyreek's wrist that, as I mentioned, he was not catching passes today because of. But like I said, he was animated. He looks absolutely fine on the sideline. I have a feeling that if Mike McDaniel was to speak today, he'd be like, it's nothing. I wear one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mike McDaniel would be like, I wear one in my sleep just to keep my wrist, firm and ready for the next day. I don't know. I don't think it's anything, but it's still something to worry about a little bit because he's getting older and injuries happen. It's crazy when you get older. JT, DJ Moore, and Hollywood for Bijan and Neighbors. JT, DJ Moore, and Hollywood for Bijan, and give me Bijan and Neighbors all day long, or hopefully Smith, Devontae Smith. Yeah, I'm taking Smith and Bijan or Neighbors and Bijan. If that's redraft, I want Smith over Neighbors, and if it's Dynasty, I want Neighbors over Smith, just so you know. I want to hit it from both sides. Hayden with the $5 hauler, 10-team PPR, had 2 firsts, and Bijan keeper, Josh Allen, Bijan, Kyron, Monty, Corum, Eckler, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, McLaurin, Worthy. Fantastic, bro.
You've just been...
Unbelievable squad. Unbelievable squad. Kyron, the fact that you got Corum too, smart, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, get out of here. Worthy, get out of here. You're protected for the future. You got the now. You're not scared of older players because you're building, bro. Worthy on the bench there. Love it. Ethan, $5 hauler, made 2 trades. Diggs for Smith. Love it. and St. Brown and Andrews for Barkley McBride. That one I also love, but it's hard to see St. Brown go. But come on, like McBride and Andrews is not close for me. We have news on Andrews. Andrews is already a little bit like injured. Maybe they're saying it's nothing, but he's so injury prone. Barkley and St. Brown going near close to each other, so McBride's a huge upgrade. This is a solid trade. It's totally Smitty approved. And then the last super chat before we get back to the news, but follow the super chats in. I'll answer them in order which to receive. Best auction draft strategy: don't draft the top big dogs that require $60, $70 out of $200 purse. Or if it's $100, then you get my drift. You know, any $40 players. Take the Kyrans, the Achans, those guys as your RBs. Don't go after the top Tyreek Hill players. Go after the Cooper Kupp, Devontae Smith, and Tank Dells. You do that, you're going to end up with one or two more players than everybody else, and you're going to have a really balanced team. You go after big dogs, you run through your money quick, and then boom, you're out of money and you have no balance. You look like somebody that actually walked out of the draft and came back at the end, and you're like, bro, you didn't draft anybody. What'd you do? CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jones said Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb are having promising talks. I'll be honest with you. The report yesterday makes me think there's a lot in motion here. Our report on what this man posted on his Instagram. CeeDee Lamb posted on his IG a picture of him this is a picture of Spider-Man, but this is him saying, I'm putting back on the mask and getting to work. I'm going back to be Spider-Man. And he's wearing a Cowboys shirt here. I don't know if this is an older photo he just posted to just kind of show his Cowboys apparel, or if this was actually him that day yesterday. But these were posted on his Instagram stories, which makes me think that this is true. There's positive talks going on. But the way Jerry talks, you never know. I don't really know if things went awry. And this kind of happened with San Francisco, where you had Aiyuk and the Niners supposedly ready to make a deal, and Aiyuk said, I want to come home. They're like, yeah, come home. And he comes home, and then all of a sudden, nothing happens again. Tough to say, but what I will say, all these people, these Mickey Mouse people trying to predict what's happening. You know, someone's talking to me in my ear right now. I know a local podcast here. According to a source. And the source is, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. I'm hearing word that Aiyuk's going to sign his deal tomorrow or this week. Like, whoa. We're getting closer to the season. How bold of you. Just throwing mud at the wall. That mud is slipping off the walls. Everybody's been throwing mud at the wall. No one believes anybody, and nobody should. If you're not a big name news breaking source with a track record of breaking news, you're nothing when it comes to this topic. So stop trying. Stop trying to act like you have some sort of lead on this information. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And nobody knows whether Aiyuk's signing today or tomorrow, or if Lamb's signing today or tomorrow. The tea leaves and all the momentum do point toward CeeDee Lamb getting a deal before week 1. That feels 100% in motion because of CeeDee Lamb posting these things on his Instagram stories. So that 100% feels like the case. And in the case of Brandon Aiyuk, we'll go over that in a second. Actually, let's go over that now. There's definitely, a vibe right now that there's some talks and they've re-engaged, but this is also sometimes John Lynch will come out and say something, or somebody will get word from John Lynch or something where John's being extra positive. He's like, yeah, we've been in excellent talks with Brandon, and we really, really want him here. And then people run with it. Here's Kyler. We'll talk about Kyler in a second. And here's the update here. So this was the first update today, where 49ers head coach Shanahan on Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams. His words, 0 updates, nothing has changed. From Kyle Shanahan, from Adam Schefter. Okay, so this is what we actually have to deal with. Then everybody in their Mickey Mouse podcast and everybody in their Mickey Mouse Twitter account started posting, and I'm not saying Jordan Schultz is that guy. I like Jordan Schultz a lot. I trust him. He does seem to have some information. But I don't know if he's getting this from, because he says sources. I'm tired of hearing, if you can't say who your source is a rat. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you can't say, per Steve from accounting, who's leaking everything over in San Francisco, your person is a rat. Stop acting, unless you're Schefter or Rappaport, stop acting like you're getting a text from the team. No offense to Jordan Schultz. I like him. He does seem like an NFL insider is what he calls himself. He does feel like he does get good leads, but he's not getting a text from the team. The Niners are not texting Jordan Schultz saying, hey, I just want to give you an update. Like, sources. Stop saying sources. Stop it. It's ridiculous. And that's why I don't really buy into this report, even though I do like Jordan Schultz, but I'm not buying into this report as much as I'm buying into the report that Adam Schefter posted that says right here, per Kyle Shanahan, 0 updates, nothing has changed. This coming from the mouth of Kyle Shanahan today. So this one right here, everybody in their Mickey Mouse page is going, I'm getting, after this comes up, I'm hearing from 4 people, can't tell you who, trust me bro, that Brandon Aiyuk had another meeting yesterday, and maybe he did, yes, of course, okay, had another meeting, and talks continue to progress on a long-term contract extension, okay? This right here is just stating the obvious to me. The way it's phrased, the way people take it, the way people are running with it, it makes the Mickey Mouse pages go, oh, yeah, I'm hearing word it's going to happen, because they see just a little bit of momentum, and week 1's right there in line of sight. So now it makes sense. If I go out and say on a limb he's going to sign within 7 days, the odds are really high that if they are progressing, and progressing could mean they had another meeting, back-to-back meetings. Nobody knows what the numbers look like. No one knows anything other than they went back in to talk. This is good that they're talking. Progress might be being made. And everybody just takes it like, oh my God, I got 7 days probably of a window that this could happen. So let me predict it. We don't know. It seems like everyone's dragging their feet, including Brandon Aiyuk. And the Steelers are awaiting a potential answer to their trade, and this came from Bleacher Report yesterday, where Brandon Aiyuk rumors Steelers would send a second-round pick, no players, to the Niners, and the Niners apparently haven't accepted that, don't like that, so they're waiting on Brandon Aiyuk. We'd rather have Brandon Aiyuk is what I'm guessing. We'd rather have Brandon Aiyuk. We're the Niners. If we don't get him on the deal we want, then maybe we will hit the button. So there's that. This is, let's get to this real quick, but Jelani Woods, God, it's such a frustrating thing. He's so good. He's 6'7", 250 plus pound. Look how big he is, but he can't stay healthy. This reminds me a little bit of David Boston from Arizona, the wide receiver that converted eventually to a tight end, and he's too big. He couldn't play football. He's too big. This tree trunk right here, this guy is so massive. It looks like a telephone pole. Catching from, and can you imagine 6'7" guy sitting in the end zone like this? Just throw it up, just throw it as high as you can, and I'm gonna score 75 touchdowns this year. Like, if I was Jelani Woods, I think I'd score 75 touchdowns if I was 6'7", as big as this dude is. But he can't stay healthy, and that might be the unfortunate recipe we need to consider moving forward. Is that if you are too big, you can't play the game. That's why you wonder, okay, basketball players, 6'9", 6'7", you almost have to be 6'7" to be a point guard anymore in the NBA. And why is that? It's just because you could be so athletic in that game, in that sport, at that size, and be agile. In this game, why are some of the best receivers in the league 6'1" and 6'2"? Why aren't they 6'7"? If the NBA could have 6'7" guys running downfield, dribbling between their legs like as good, if not better, than point guards at 6 foot did 15 years ago, how can these players not evolve in the NFL game to be 6'7" wide receivers on the regular? It's because it's hard to stay healthy. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. You've heard that phrase before from Dad and Grandpa. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. And the bigger you are, the more you weigh, the harder you hit the ground. And so think of it like taking a punch. Every time you hit the ground, you're getting hit. And if you're bigger and stronger, NBA players aren't hitting the ground over and over and over. That's why you can be 6'7" and be agile and be good. But in the NFL, the bigger you are, the harder you get hit every time you hit the ground. And this guy, I just think David Boston, Cardinal wide receiver, Jelani Woods, other players that are 6'7", 250, 260 pounds, it does become almost impossible It's a wild situation. It's a wild situation. And honestly, I don't think that he's going to stay healthy. And unfortunately, that's all she wrote. That is all she wrote for Jelani. I'll be rooting for him, but it's time to probably let him go. It's probably time to let him go. Next piece of news is this Kyler Murray news right here. And I'll just tell you one thing. Let's go back to the Moon Man real quick. The Marsman, excuse me, the Marsman.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Man. Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
Kyler Murray is an absolute. Where did he? Is he on the Moon Man?
The Moon Man.
Oh, Moon Man. I'm sorry.
Dropping loads.
And that's not a demeaning thing that he's on the Moon Man and not the Mars Man, because like I said, there's a little bit more risk with Moon Men versus Mars Men, and a little bit more risk with Mars Men versus almost the locked and loaded Saturn Men. But it doesn't mean that one of these guys can't have as impacting of a season. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is 100%. Moon Man capable of being the best pick out of all the boards. Okay, so nobody look at it like this is a bad thing. Like, for example, it's just they're bigger shots in the dark in a sense in some of these cases. Like, Worthy's got a lot of risk. And imagine drafting all of these Moon Men. This is a problem people had last year where if you draft the right ones, you're fine. But like, if you do draft the wrong combo of these guys and you put them all on one team, I can't help that Ford may lose some touches later on. I can't help if it takes some time for Worthy to get fully unlocked. There's so many things that need to happen. Baker and Penix that are actually on the moon, those guys, they aren't doing anything right now. Like, so that's what the difference is. But Kyler is a Moon Man for a reason. He's going to go out there and he's going to unleash holy hell on the National Football League. And if you understand what this guy's done in the past, if you don't just hyper focus on the ACL and think he can't come back to a full form, or if you hyper focus on last year in certain spots and you don't look at the actual offense that went from like 0 to hero with Kyler in it, they became a top 10 offense the moment Kyler stepped back on the field. And if you don't look at before the ACL tear in 2022, Kyler in about 10 games was a top 5 quarterback. If you extrapolate Kyler's 10 games before he tore his ACL, I believe it was 10 games across 17 games, he was QB5. Like, Kyler's been a top 5 quarterback already. We don't need to see it proved. We know he is, and he never had MHJ. What do you think is going to happen now? You hand this man MHJ, you start utilizing McBride full season. You only used him mid-season on practically. What do you think's going to happen? And while Benson doesn't look like a special player now because he's fighting for the number 2 job, Carter's actually got it. But Benson was drafted high for a reason. His 4.3 speed is going to be utilized. He showed some good bursts in that final preseason or last preseason game. I'm excited. I'm absolutely excited. And I think that this is going to be quite a impressive year for the Arizona Cardinals. Very similar to the Lions the year before they actually did it. Kind of the way we expected the Houston Texans to be last year, but they did it in year 1. I think they're 1 year away, but you never, ever truly know when a team is going to say, you know what, we don't need a whole year. Like the Washington Commanders, they might do it too. The Washington Commanders, there are 2 teams that I look at here in the NFC, the Commanders and the Cardinals, that are probably a year away. But they have all the talent in the world to do it like the Houston Texans did it in year 1, especially the Washington Commanders. But these 2 teams are absolutely loaded with talent, and I love that people doubt them. And Kyler Murray is one of the craftiest QB round 6-7 plays you can make in fantasy football, period, when you're drafting late QB. And you cuff him to MHJ in best ball. It's fun to do it in redraft as well, or to McBride. This is an offense that will ball out when they're winning, and they'll throw a ton when they're behind. And their defense is the right combination of bad mixed with a good offense, that it does mean that on it with the bad D, this is a good situation. You know how we keep saying probably draft guys that are on good teams more than not. Like, you're pushed to a decision point, fork in the road. Ask yourself which offense is better. because 90% of the time that's the answer. It just always is. And you need to understand that. You need to accept that. You can't look at Zamir White and say, he came off the Moon Man list for a reason, because after watching the Raiders over and over, I had to. And it doesn't mean I don't like Zamir. It doesn't mean I'm not rooting for Zamir. It doesn't mean I won't draft him. I just can't put him in the select group anymore because he's on a bad offense. And so you look at Zamir versus another player, you got to go with the other player if they're pretty dead even and the other player plays on an electric offense. That's the nature of it. And while you might want to say, well, the Cardinals are bad, they're not. The offense is going to be amazing. The defense will be spotty, which means the offense will have to play even more and throw the ball in the third and fourth quarter. It's actually an amazing recipe of good offense and bad defense. So Kyler to the mother freaking moon. Kyler maybe even to Saturn at certain points during the season, but Kyler is going to drop loads all over the place in 2024. Get your Kyler shares. Get them now. Believe in MHJ. Don't second guess anything relating to these guys. Ethan with the super chat. Appreciate you. I'm going to go through these right now in order in which they're received. Scully, appreciate you. Elevation, appreciate your super chat. Alec with a $5 holler. Alec, appreciate you. Nick with the 10 wad. You're going to get a moonshot, pal. Appreciate you. And the Don with the $4.99. Appreciate you. The Don says, I'm in a 2 QB league and I have the last pick. If Josh Allen and Patty are both there, should I double dip at QB? That's cute, the Don. That's cute in a 2 QB league. You think you're getting the number 1 and the number 2 overall pick. I don't understand the question, Don. I don't get it. Let me read it again. Let me have the computer read it, because I don't know how you'd get the number 1 and number 2 overall pick in a super flex if you've got the last pick. Maybe I read this wrong.
The Donsu purchased $4.99 from the Don. I'm in a 2 QB PPR league and I have the last pick. If Josh Allen and Patty are both there, should I double dip in QB?
The answer is kind of like this. Hey, Smitty, I'm walking down the street and there's 2 $100 bills on the ground. Should I pick them up? Yes. The answer is 100%. Pick them up. Do your worst, young man. Do your worst. Odds are, sadly, though, the Don, you're probably looking at neither one of those guys being available by number 5 overall. If you're in a 2 QB league and people are not drafting the number 1 quarterback and the number 2 quarterback by the last pick in round 1, you might as well just draft the 2, finish drafting your team, and then just say to everybody, hey, gather around. Pep talk. Everybody give me half the entry fee now, and we'll redraft in 1 hour, and we'll start over. That's essentially what I would do. If you land, hey, let me tell you something, Don. You land Mahomes and Patty at the 10 and 11 turn picks in a super flex league, I quit my job and I come work for you. You show me a receipt. You show me a receipt of you drafting the top 2 picks at 10 and 11 in a super flex, I come work for you. Don. Oh, Don, that expression on your face is what you're going to have if you end up getting both of them. I'll tell you that right now. Nick with the $10 holler. Nick with the super.
The moon.
Moonshot, mine, Nick. I have the 1.1 in a 10-team PPR 1 keeper league superflex redraft league. I have the 1.1 in a 10-team PPR keeper superflex redraft league. Okay. Who should I take at 1? Top choices are CMC, Bijan, Lamar, Jackson, Lamb Hall. Lamb Hall is my keeper. Hall is my keeper. You're running it all together. It's hard to... Okay, so Lamb is available. Hall is your keeper. Probably going to go with this. I probably would lean, because you already have Hall, I probably would lean Lamb Chops. If not, then I go Bijan. Oh, no, Superflex. Damn it. Hold on. Lamar Jackson. It's got to be Lamar. Yeah, it's got to be Lamar. Okay, yeah. Scratch that. I'm sorry. This whole sentence confused me. It's in a PPR 1 keeper superflex redraft. I would say Lamar, Jackson, and then I don't know what other quarterbacks is Stroud there. Like I feel like I don't have all the information, but I'd say you're going quarterback if there's a Stroud or Lamar or a quarterback of that nature there. If not, then I go Lamb Chops. With the next pick, look at JD5, my guy. See if JD5 is available. Chase Brown? Yeah, Stroud as well. AR5 as well. As a Debo owner, I'm going to go to bed every night praying BA gets traded. I don't blame you, Alec, and I think that if, it happens, Debo's going to go to the moon. I think either way he's going to the moon, though. Like when I had Debo on the Marsmen.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men.
This Debo call.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
That Debo call was not made with the assumption that the trade was going down. So just know that, Fourth pick, 10-man PPR redraft, Brees or Bijan. Honestly, if you had two leagues side by side, I'd go Bijan on one, Brees in the other. But if I had to pick one, I'd say Bijan by a hair. Just because I think the touchdowns could be a bigger chance for 15-plus touchdowns, whereas Hall is like 10 to 12 to 13 to 14. I think Bijan could have that 18-touchdown season. He's just going to get goal line work. Brees Hall probably won't, or I'll split it. So there's just a little bit more of a touchdown discrepancy. Scully with a 10-man redraft league. QB Mahomes and JD5. Running back CMC, Gibbs, Brooks. Wide receivers Diggs, Moore, DK, Keon. Love it. Pitts and Hawkinson. Thoughts? Like the team a lot. I mean, your running backs are to the moon, bro. Your quarterbacks are to the moon. I think this is a 1 QB league, right? So it's not like you need JD5 there, but that's fantastic QB2 material. I think where you need to maybe look to try and make a trade, like if you could, I don't want you to trade JD5, but like if Mahomes is popping, it's 1 QB and JD5 is going nuts, you might have an opportunity to try and get, a top 15 overall player that's a wide receiver at some point. It's really that kind of value that JD5 could hold very, very soon. AR5 had it. AR5 was getting traded for Puka Nacua in mid-season, or right before the injury. Like, people were like, oh my God, this guy's really the real deal. In the Marsman League, he got traded for Puka Nacua. So it's certainly possible that JD5, if he holds AR5 value like AR5 had real quickly, you could get someone at least in the, I would say in the Debo territory or something like that. So might be something you look to do. I hate to say that, but since it's not a keeper league and you got Mahomes, that it's something you need to look at. I'd also consider trading CMC for a Kyren and a wide receiver that is a monster wide receiver. I got in a keeper league, I got Achane and DK Metcalf. In a redraft league, I wonder what wide receiver you could get for CMC with a Kyren or Achane. I'm thinking higher than DK Metcalf, and that's something I strongly consider. I honestly like Kyren and Corum as much as almost any running back this year in redraft at all, period, if you got the duo. Ethan, appreciate you. I'm on deck in a Superflex Dynasty. Have Hurts having a hard time deciding on either Bijan or Brees. I'm probably going Bijan for the reasons I just said. There's just more touchdowns. JD5's nice too, though, bro, but I'd probably go Bijan. Maybe you get Kirk Cousins and Penix later. Maybe you're able to get Bo Nix later. I love Bo Nix in Superflex. He's an absolute smash as your second QB. And Silent Goldie says $4.99 hauler, 12-team PPR, Josh Allen, CD, London, Tank, Reed, H.M. Montgomery, Benson. I like this, bro. H.M. Montgomery. I like it. CD, London, Tank. I mean, you got a great team. That's fantastic. CD, London, and Tank, and you still got H.M. and Monty's very crafty. People think I don't like Montgomery this year. I don't know what they're talking about. It's a standalone 10, maybe he's 900 yards, but standalone 10, 8, 10, 9, 11 touchdowns, something like that. That's how good he could be. This report here, thank you for the super chats. I'll answer them in order which they received. This one right here, the insiders. Herbert is back at practice, which is good, but his injury may linger. This is not good. So, I don't know. I'm staying away from Herbert. The fact that this is being reported, and this could be, guesstimations by their part, but the fact that Herbert missed time, the fact that Vegas is predicting, I think last time I checked anyway, it was like 3,400 yards passing for a 5,000-yard passing quarterback. This is a total avoid for me. I think Herbert could become a value at some point if everybody else jumps on board of ignoring him. Andrews is missing practice with a very minor thing, according to Coach John Harbaugh, but the fact that he's banged up at all just doesn't feel right. I just don't like a lot of Andrew shares this year. Deontay Johnson appeared to injure his foot. We'll keep you, foot or ankle, we'll keep you posted on that one, Deontay. And that is all the news for the moment. And on that note, I'm going to leave you with this real quick. And I'll be right back. I'll be right back after this special Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler message.
Hi. What would you like? Footballs, please. Lots of footballs, please. Coming up. He's Marvin, he's 11 feet tall, and he loves to consume the football. He's Kyler, he's 4 feet tall, but starving Marvin will answer the call. They're Kyler and Marvin.
That bass does slap. It just slaps. Hassan says Jalen Wright or Trey Benson. Give me Jalen Wright for right now. Right. Jalen Wright, right. Call in. Phone line's open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Right? 0 updates. So hard to know what to believe. These Mickey Mouse news reporters. What's up, Ethan? You're live. What can I do for you? What do you hear? What do you say? All right, Ethan. Try back again when you're awake. 5502 caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Caleb. I'm from Lexington.
Caleb from Lexington. Okay, Caleb from Lexington. What can I do for you, Caleb?
Hey, so I have the first overall pick in my draft, and I'm in a 12-man, and I don't know who to pick. I know you've been saying Bijan, but I just need to hear your reason, like why.
Why? What pick do you have?
The first overall.
Well, I mean, again,
and I'm not like 100% sold.
What aren't you sold about? Is it recollection of what happened last year that really isn't tied to this situation at all anymore? Or is it that you want a wide receiver? Like, what's the thing you're fighting against? Because I can't convince you that Bijan is Bijan. Like, if you don't think he's Bijan, if you don't think he's worthy of the number 1 overall pick, honestly, I don't know if I want to talk you into it, because then you're just going to drive the ADP value. Like, if you like him, Caleb, call right back in. For some reason, your phone is not letting me add anybody else. Call right back in. Wait 1 minute. Travis and all you guys, try dialing back in again. I don't know what was going on with this phone line. 214 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? 214.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? It's Clayton from Dallas.
Clayton from Dallas. What's up, Clayton? What can I do for you?
Hey, man. I just did my draft, and a little worried you might be upset at me.
Okay, you let me determine that. But usually when someone says I'm going to be upset at them, I'm not as upset as I thought. And when they say I'm going to be proud of them, I'm not as proud as they think I'm going to be. But go ahead.
Fair enough. I think I got the tripod, but you'll see where you'll probably be mad. So it's 10-team PPR. Grab Brees, G. Willie, Fell.
Let me write this down. Okay, so you got Brees Hall, and then who was your second pick?
Garrett Wilson.
Okay, G. Willie. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that so far. It's a great start. So far, not
got
mad.
A-Chain in 3.
I'm not mad at all. I'm feeling pretty excited. Okay.
Got Cup in 4.
Come on, bro. Wait, is this setting me up for
wait.
like? But what makes you think I'm going to be upset over this? Like, what are you doing?
I didn't get Mosterts. I got sniped. I got
Okay,
good
well,
starters, and then I got sniped.
That's fine. You still look. It's still probably the best draft you could have at this point. But go ahead. After Cup, who did you steal?
Patty.
Come on, bro. I don't know if I'm going to do this.
Finish him.
How many teams?
Yeah. How many teams are in this?
10.
It's still great though. I almost hung up on you, but that's phenomenal. Like, congrats. Like, you might as well just say, everybody, let's all pay half the entry fee. Submit it to me via PayPal or Cash App, and then we'll redraft. But who is your? I don't really need to hear the rest of the team because this is embarrassment of riches. Who's your next pick? And then that's all I want to talk about because you smashed. Doesn't matter if you got most or bro. Okay, Kincaid, get out of here, bro. Hold on. Think of something that I can help you with. All right, hang tight, real quickly. I'll be back.
Yeah, so I guess.
Okay, go ahead, real quickly.
Yeah. Like I got JD5 later on. Like, do you trade Mahomes?
You don't need to. You don't need to. What do you need to trade for? Your team's stacked to the rafters. Who's your next pick after Kincaid?
I have my 2 flex spots. I have Montgomery and Worthy.
You're fine.
Do you upgrade one of those?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, maybe consider trading JD5 on the absolute high later. I don't love saying that, but you've got Mahomes, and Mahomes is my best favorite pick of 2024, period. So as much as I love JD5, that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, hang tight, Dallas. You can think of another question. I'll come right back to you, but mute yourself if you could. Or Clayton from Dallas. Mute yourself. Let me go over to Travis, then over to Let me go to Ethan real quick, Travis, because I'm going to see if Ethan's even there. Ethan, are you there, pal?
Yeah, I was muted last time. I'm an idiot.
All right, you muted when you called in. I like it. I like the way your head thinks, though. That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
Ethan, what can I do for you? You're live.
Yeah, so going back to my super chat, I kind of worded it weird. So I'm on the clock now. My choice is either Brees Hall or JD5 in a Superflex Dynasty. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling on the decision. And I already have first.
I think I'd probably say I go JD5 if it's Dynasty. If it was a redraft, I would go Hall.
It's a Dynasty.
Not to suggest that Hall doesn't hold great Dynasty value. He does, but
100%, yeah.
But JD5 has way more longevity, and given that it's a super flex, given you're going to be dominating with the 2 QB spots, I'm going to take JD5 without hesitation, and that's no knock on Hall whatsoever. It's just a matter of, quarterbacks are going early, and this is a top 5 dynasty quarterback in JD5, so easy call for me. Easy call. All right.
One other thing real quick. Yeah. If that was Bijan, would you still go JD5?
Yes.
I'm going to do a couple more.
I'm still going JD5 even in a dynasty super flex. Dynasty. In a redraft, I will probably go Bijan.
All right, perfect.
And again, that's not to say Bijan doesn't have amazing dynasty value. It's just the shelf life of Hall and Bijan is maybe 4 more years before something maybe goes awry. And JD5 is going to literally be doing this for maybe 15 years. And kind of has higher value anyway on top of that. So you're getting the higher value probably, and you're getting 15 years. All right, hang tight. I'm going to come back to you. Just mute yourself. Travis, you're live.
Would you trade in a dynasty Achane and Mostert for Gibbs straight up?
Achane. So just to clarify, I think people are gonna. The first reaction I get from people, and honestly, I don't think it's a smart way to look at this when people say, "Oh, Mostert's nothing in Dynasty." It's not about Mostert having value in Dynasty. It's about supporting Achane now and cementing in 2024 top 5 running back production. So we know this is a very temporary piece, but it's still vital to a trade like this. Like I don't like in Dynasty. I'm drafting Mostert with Achane every single time, especially because in Dynasty Mostert falls even further. He's practically free, but this is a very, very tough trade to say no to, given that you have Gibbs with the small little hamstring injury, and you've got this situation. It's so unique, and I try and get right. I absolutely need right. I gotta go get right somehow.
Well,
right?
This is the situation. I've been working with Rain in the comments on the trade with him for like a few days now, and he tried to get right, and the kid will not budge. So we're going over other options for him and trying to figure out what to do. So
okay, well,
you can't get him.
I mean, the bottom line is you don't have Monty in the other scenario. So I mean, it's not much different. Achane is special. And Gibbs is special.
Yeah, he'd be getting Gibbs.
They're both special. I'm going to say give me the Achane Mostert combo in Dynasty just because I don't know.
I know it's tough. That's why I wanted your input on it, because it's tough. The security is nice, but I like Gibbs better a little bit. I think he has Kyron with Corum as well, so he has that backed up.
I guess without Wright, maybe I, and I'm not saying that Wright's the answer to everything. I'm just saying it's security. Maybe I do go Gibbs.
I also told him that if he can't pull off the Gibbs, don't be so sure that the kid isn't going to trade Wright at all. He could get 2 weeks into he could have these big plans for Wright.
I just want people to know
season and be willing to move him.
I just want people to know that Achane's just as good. But I think I probably go Gibbs. I probably lean Gibbs. The more I map it out, especially you got Kyron and Corum. But at the end of the day, man, like Achane is potentially going to be every bit as good. He's bulked up at least 8 to 10 pounds. He has a part of the offense just absolutely compartmentalized for him. He is the Deebo Samuel of Miami Mike McDaniel's Miami Dolphin offense. He is playing the Deebo role.
Yeah.
I would just say this. I want to leave it at this. I think it's near dead even. I don't want to sit here and lean and say it's Gibbs. Oh, go get Gibbs. To me, that's disrespectful to Achane. Achane is every bit as capable as anybody in the league. He is the number 1 yards per carry running back average in National Football League history. And you could say, oh, it's not going to hold. Even if it doesn't hold, I'm not a moron. He's still going to be about 5.5 to 6.5 yards a clip. And if anybody thinks he's just some gadget player, they got another thing coming. And I don't want anybody to assume that he's never going to be a full-time back, because that's not what he does. And I'd be worried about that if he didn't play for Miami Mike McDaniel, who's playing him, using him, and architecting the offense around him differently than anybody else would. So you got to stop trying to say history says this type of back won't do well. History's never seen this type of offense. So I'm just going to say it's near dead even. I would go with your gut on it. The fact that you're getting Mostert's nice, or the fact that he's keeping Mostert is nice, whatever way you want to look at it. But at the end of the day, Mostert will fall off, and then you're just left with Achane and Gibbs, and then it's pretty even. But for the 2024 value, like winning big cash money, I'm going to say I'm leaning Achane and Mostert, but overall in Dynasty, I lean Gibbs a little bit. But, bro, I don't know. I go back and forth. I'm going to say there's no real answer here. There's no real answer here. And I know everybody wants to jump on the Gibbs side of this really easily because, I don't know, it's something to do with doubting that Achane's got longevity. But I think people are out of their minds.
Yeah, neither of them are, I want to say right off the bat, I'm not calling either of them injury prone, but people always label Achane injury prone for some reason, but they're not doing it with Gibbs, and he's gotten banged up a couple times. And like I said, neither of them are. But it's weird how these guys get these labels.
Let me show you why. Let me show you guys why it's such a struggle.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
I mean, they're side by side. I mean, what do you want from me? What do you guys want from me? You ask me to choose my children. Which child do you like better, Smitty? I mean, it's a great question, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's Hassan. Thank you for the super chat going back to that team earlier. Any upgrades? Hassan, I don't know what team you're talking about at this point. You got to include it. Let me go try and find it, Hassan. Let's see here. Going back to 7 years ago, Smitty. Draft QB JD5, wide receiver Chase, Debo, Ridley, Adunze, B. Thomas, Coleman, Kyron, K9, Benson, Mixon. Any upgrades? I like the team. I would say probably looking to maybe turn Mixon or Rashad White or even K9, even though I love Kenneth Walker, into a little bit bigger, stronger, better player. Not that they're not great, but just because I can. You've got depth to do that. You've got Mixon, White, and K9. You've got traded Javonte for Keon. I love that. Keon Coleman, I love it. You've got BT, Adunze, Ridley, because Chase and Debo are locked in. So you've got plenty of leeway here. I just don't know if anyone's giving you what you deserve out of Ridley, BT, or Adunze yet. I don't know anybody's giving you what K9 or Benson or even Rashad White or Mixon are worth. So I'm going to tell you that you're probably best to wait until some of these values change and then try and use them to buy low on a player that maybe starts week 1 and 2 bad. Maybe Garrett Wilson has a very slow week 1 and 2 or something. You know, like that happens every year. There's going to be 5, 6, 7, maybe even 12 guys that are bona fide studs or borderline that struggle for the first handful of weeks. And we're just, buy low, buy low. I can't believe you had a bad week 1. That's a blessing. Buy low. We're going to have that show over and over and over and over. So that's probably going to be my advice on that, Hassan. Let me go over to Scuba Steve. And then over to Caleb, back to Caleb from Lexington. Scuba, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, I got a couple drafts coming up. I have the 7th pick in one league, and I got the 8th pick in another league. Both are 10-team PPRs. With the 7th pick, I know I was listening to you with the contract stuff. If Jamar Chase is there at 7, are you okay with taking him? And then with the 8th pick, I was just thinking either going Justin Jefferson, or I was going back and forth between either taking Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs, just in case one of those guys isn't back on that turn, that second round turn.
Yeah, I would say, Chase at 7 bakes in almost every bit of risk you can conjure up, but there's still risk. But it's baked in. It's baked in pretty well. I think I would not double down on both these leagues and take Chase in one. I think I'd probably go, if best player available allows for it, I'm almost positive it will, because these draft slots have forks in the road almost every time where you can go, which way do I go? I would go wide receiver in one. I'd go running back in the other. I'd give myself two totally different builds because, I think like a Gibbs or a Bijan or, hell, bro, I'm not saying take Kyron at 8, but I'm just saying he's worth it. He's worth it. But if you take a Gibbs or a Breece Hall or a Bijan, I imagine that Hall or Bijan, one of those two is going to fall to 7, maybe, or 8, and you're going to be able to get a running back. The problem will be Chase probably more likely falls to 7, and Breece Hall and Bijan more likely fall to 7. So in the 8, the draft where you have number 8 overall, maybe all 3 are gone. I don't know. But definitely love Gibbs there as well. I personally, in a home league, take Kyron at the 12-13 turn all the time. In a best ball, Kyron goes in the 3rd round. It's madness, bro. But, yeah, Chase is a baller, bro. But holding out is an injury risk. No doubt about it. Lamb, Chase, Aiyuk, one of those 3 are probably going to get hurt. I don't know how long. Maybe they missed 2 games. I don't know. But odds are very strong one of them gets hurt. At least one of them.
So would you just try to just take Justin Jefferson then? Because I know that. I don't really like Sam Darnold, but I mean, if he's there at 7, I mean, I know that Joe Burrow's still on the chase, but with the injury risk of holding out, I don't know, man.
Joe Burrow on the Chiefs.
No, I said Joe Burrow throwing the chase. I was saying.
Oh, throwing it. It sounded like you said Joe Burrow's on the Chiefs. You said throwing the chase. I heard it, and yeah, now I can hear what you said. Okay. I would
between the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I would say JJ's fine. Maybe JJ Jamar Chase is your avenue for the wide receiver approach, and then you go running back with Bijan or Hall or Gibbs at the other.
Okay. Do you think that there's a chance that I could get Barkley back on one of those turns in the 10 team?
For sure.
It's possible that. Okay. And if not, do you would definitely go Kyron over like Jonathan Taylor or anything like that?
Yep.
You're staying away from him?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not staying away from Taylor. I like Kyron and Achane more.
All right. Yeah. No problem, man. Because I was just wanting to get a couple different strategies because I think I'm going to do a couple builds like you said, where I take wide receiver in one and running back in the other, just to not limit myself. Because I know I have been catching up on the shows, and I know you do like that running backs.
Yeah, tripod, baby.
A lot more than the wide receiver.
Tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient
tripod,
Egypt,
baby,
consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting wide receiver back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2, using these plethoras of players. The double-decker.
The 4 horsemen, we haven't pulled this up in a while. Let's see who moved out of the 4 horsemen draft slot. So Lamb, JJ, Scuba, you can just wait right there 1 second. Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase. So yeah, I mean the 4 horsemen is looking pretty good still. Kyron's moved into this territory here, and rightfully so. I mean, he deserves to be here. Kyron, I even have Kyron's name still there. Kyron, Achane, and Barkley, basically a running back. Top 3 QB. So this is, in a sense, you're taking the QB there just like you would in the tripod, and then Cooper Kupp no longer goes in 4. We haven't pulled this up in a while. The values have definitely changed. Wow, Cooper Kupp goes in 3 now, unfortunately. So we can't even. I got to redo the 4 horsemen. It's not even accurate anymore. Man. All right, hang tight, Scuba. I'll come back for you 1 second. I'm going to go to Antonio from New York next, then over to Caleb. Let me just answer the super chat real quickly from Packers. He says 12-man PPR, Josh Allen, Jacobs, Connor, Benson, Lamb, Adams, Pitts, then either Neighbors or Deontay Johnson in the flex. That's disrespectful, bro. Like, as much as I'm worried about Danny Dimes and Neighbors' is overvalued, ADP, you're really going to say Neighbors or Deontay in the flex? What's wrong with you, Packers? It's like saying, I don't know, bro. I don't even know. I can't even. It's like saying, do I take the prime rib or do I grab the little Philly cheesesteak that's been, a day old?
Deontay needs to go into politics or something, the way, his marketing team keeps it alive.
What in the hell is going on here? Neighbors or Deontay, whichever one the matchup based. You mean every week go Neighbors? Bobby Bro says rate my team 12-team non-PPR: Josh Allen, DK, Kirk, B Hall, Pacheco, McBride, Zamir, Chase Brown, Caleb, Samuel, BT, Hollywood, Jamison Williams. Love Jamison Williams this year. I like the team a lot. Pacheco, Hall are fantastic. Josh Allen, DK. Would I love to see you improve your wide receiver room? I think Kirk has a lot of trade value for whatever reason. I don't know why we're so high on Kirk. I like him, but BT's going to be the one. I don't know. He's still going to eat, but I trade him. I was
hearing that Kirk is could end up being the third or fourth option there by the end of the year.
I trade Kirk the first chance I get. Trade Kirk and
me too.
I don't know.
People still love him.
I don't know what else you can move, but I'm trying to. Maybe you can get a
Kirk and a running back of some sort to upgrade at one position,
something
like a bench running back.
I mean, maybe wait until the season a little bit, but Zamir and Kirk, Zamir's not going to get you really what you want, but you might as well try. So like Zamir and Kirk for a slight wide receiver upgrade over Kirk. So maybe you could get your hands on like a Cooper Kupp. Maybe you could get your hands on a Devontae Smith. Maybe you could get. You're probably not going to get a Debo, but you could always try. Maybe the deflated value of Debo, the feeling of his deflated value with Aiyuk staying, make someone trade him. Tank Dell would be fantastic. So Zamir and Kirk for Tank Dell. Personally, I would do that. Maybe not everybody would. I find a lot of people be like, did he just say trade for Tank Dell? But Tank Dell's the 3. I'm like, okay. That's what... Smitty, that's like when someone comes up and goes, Smitty, but the world's flat. Like, okay. Go think what you want over in the corner there. Let me go over to Antonio. You're live. But he's a 3.
What's good, man? I got another keeper question for you. 10-man half-point redraft. First overall pick. All 3 can be kept for a 16-rounder. Rice, Nakua, and Dell.
Well, I mean, bro, the answer to this is always very simple. Like, who is getting drafted higher? And I don't mean to say that, like, you always follow what people are doing. Like, maybe I hate the value of somebody that's going high. But, like, Nakua is a first rounder, bro. Dell's a 4th, 5th rounder. Rice is a 6th, 7th, or 8th rounder. Like, what are we overthinking here? Like, you draft
because Rice is...
Rice
I was thinking mainly because Rice's stock is rising, especially with Hollywood down, and looming suspension is pretty much null and void, at least it looks like for this year.
Okay, so that's good thinking, good investigative work. I like where your mind's at, but that has nothing to do with this question. Like, Rice can be drafted back, not even the first round that you're on the clock, not even the second round that you're on the clock, not even the third round that you're on the clock. Nakua is going literally... I know he's banged up right now, but it's a nothing burger. He was and still kind of is going at 9-10 overall. Like, this is a zero-brainer. There's not even a question there. I love Tank Dell, bro, but he's a 4th or 5th round steal. So you got to take advantage of that. You can't just say, well, Smitty loves Dell, so maybe we take him as if he's a first rounder. You keep Dell or Rice over Nakua, you're drafting Dell and Rice in round 1. That's what you're essentially stamping here. You're double stamping, you're triple stamping a double stamp right in front of everybody. You can't do that. You can't. I love Dell, draft him back. I love Rice, draft him back. But Nakua is a first rounder. This is, you're way over. Everybody, when you have a keeper decision, you got to ask yourself, where are they being drafted? What is the likelihood I'm drafting this guy back? If you've got like even a middle of each round type of pick, like 6, 7, or whatever, and you throw Nakua back, say goodbye. You will not get him back before you're on the clock again. Dell and Rice will be there for rounds, bro. You like Rice and Dell like I do, you'll be able to get him again. You can have a reunion. There's no goodbyes. But Nakua, you throw Nakua back, he's getting scooped up before you even bat an eye. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so can I ask another quick question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
With the first overall pick, am I overthinking it going Bijan over CMC?
No, I don't think you're overthinking it at all. I think people will call you crazy, but I mean, I don't care what people call me. I think Bijan is my. I mean, on this channel, bro, everyone's gonna applaud you. They're gonna applaud you. You're gonna get applause. In a normal environment, people are gonna go, he just passed on CMC. CMC has a calf injury. He's older. He suffered a lot of injuries last year, but played through them. He was very banged up. And I just think that we're running into a scenario where he's either going to be dialed back by Shanahan, and I don't know that Shanahan's smart enough for this, to be honest with you. So it's probably the second of the two options. But he either dials him back to save him. And remember, the Niners, they're favored to win every single game. I don't know if that's changed in the last week or two, but they've favored to win every single game. And so if they're up, they're going to pull him. They're going to pull him because they have to keep him healthy. This is going to be one of those seasons where people are like, son of a B, McCaffrey's out of the fourth quarter again. What are we doing? You know, and so you're either going to have that, or they're not going to do that, and he's going to get hurt. And Shanahan throwing Brock Purdy out there without an offensive line in the preseason game, throwing to twos, and it was ridiculous. I don't know what Shanahan was even doing. Like, even Niner pages everywhere that glazed the hell out of Shanahan and the situation, they were like, what is he doing to Brock Purdy? He's getting drilled. He's throwing these crazy passes because he has no time at all. I don't know what Shanahan's going to do, but I'm taking Bijan.
Yeah, that's when my heart was leading me, even though I was starting to think like, is it overthinking? Am I trying to be too cute with it?
You could be, but like
Bijan seems like just the truth this year.
Bro, if we're wrong on it, we escape we tried to avoid risk, right? And I'm not saying Bijan can't get injured. I'm not saying that anybody can get hurt, but the odds of Bijan getting hurt are less than the odds of CMC getting hurt. It's just because of age, because of a lot of mileage. The amount of mileage that CMC had last year, last time he had that volume, he was out for 2 straight seasons. So let's not pretend that he doesn't come with some injury risk, and let's not pretend that the volume he saw didn't last time put him on the shelf for 2 years. And he's 28 years old now and has a calf injury. So I'm not saying the calf injury, just like Jahmyr Gibbs has a hamstring injury, is something to absolutely run away from, but we're talking about 1 and 2 overall. So I'm going to lean toward Bijan, and if I'm wrong, how wrong, as long as both stay healthy, how wrong could I really be? 2 touchdowns wrong? 150 rushing yards wrong?
I was going to say probably less than 50 points.
Yeah, so I'm willing to take on that I'm wrong to avoid the risk of losing my entire season. Like, you have, I've said this before, the risk of drafting CMC is finally reached a tipping point where drafting him is as risky as not drafting him. If you're 1 overall and you don't take CMC, you have a huge risk of looking like a fool. But you also have the same size risk because it's now 50-50 of him getting hurt.
Got it. I appreciate it, man.
All right, later, Antonio. Is that your super chat, by the way, or no? Are you in? Oh, no.
No, that's not me, man.
Okay, hey, appreciate you, bro. Later.
No doubt.
It's Anthony with the $20 hauler. Anthony to the motherfreaking moon.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Anthony says, how did I do? AR5, Kyron, KW3, Kenneth Walker, London, Dell, Bowers, JD5, McLaurin, Coleman, Corum, Jalen Wright, 80 Mitchell. I like it. 12-man, Kyron. You know, I like it. I like it. Would I say you're an 8.0 or above? No, I'd say 7.8, 7.7 out of 10. And for those that don't know, if you're at 8, I think you could win the league. You know, if you're, I'm not going to give 10s out, but if I give you an 8 something, you are literally, you know, good management all year long away from playing like a 9.0 and winning your league. But when I don't give you an 8.0 or higher, it just means you're missing something. It could be a waiver wire move, so stay on your toes. It could be someone from the bench like Jalen Wright getting into the lineup, and then boom, you're an 8.5. It doesn't have to come from a change necessarily. It has to come from the bench, the waiver wire, or a trade. But it feels a little like it's missing one component. or an upgrade of K. Walker, who I love, but just something to make this team pop. I love London and Dell. I love Kyron, AR5, and obviously, you know, Bowers is good, but I think this is a team I would at least expect to have Kyron and Achan, or Kyron and another running back right there like Barkley, if it's going to have Dell, London, and Bowers. I don't know. Just one small move. One small move, and this team is literally a league winner. And I still think you're in the top 5. Like, anything close to 8.0 is meaning, I'm going to say there's 4 or 5 teams that are in the mix. You're definitely in the mix. Just keep working the waiver wire. If you get Coleman to play like a top 10 wide receiver, that's all you needed. It can come from your bench. It can absolutely come from your bench. Your team is solid. Very, very solid. Packers with a $2 hauler, starting Neighbors 100%, just asking for roster moves. But Packers, I love you, pal, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you didn't say you were starting Neighbors 100%. You said Neighbors or Deontay at my flex. So I'm just telling you that, you know, it was throwing a little shade on Neighbors' value and placement on your team. But it doesn't matter, bro. You drafted an absolute straight monster squad. You don't have to apologize to anybody. Anthony says, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown also. There it is. There it is. Now, I know that he didn't just write this to make me like his team more because I said all that. He had super chatted this before and it was sitting there. So this team has Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now it's literally a 9.0. 9.0. So, and I give out very, very few 9s. So Anthony to the motherfucking moon on that squad. I don't know who you drafted with, bro. Grandma, Aunt Gertrude, Uncle Bud. Like, just absolutely blasting him. I'd be surprised if your Aunt Edna ever spoke to you again once the season concludes. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I forgot. How do you forget you have Amon-Ra, by the way, bro? What disrespect do you have for Amon-Ra as well? He's going to remember that. Monthly marker board budget. Thank you. $10 hauler. We're running low. So that's perfect. I'll earmark that $10 hauler for markers. Thank you, Kilpatrick. Appreciate you. And starting Neighbors 100%. I don't know, Packers. I don't think you can walk that one back. But again, your team is absolutely phenomenal. So you don't have too much to be ashamed of other than you disrespected your wide receiver 3. Just traded Chase for Amon-Ra. I could go either way. Let me ask the chat. I got other super chats I got to get to, so let's go quickly on this. Travis, how do you feel about that? Jamar Chase for Amon-Ra. Are you there yet? Is anybody else in the phone line? Scuba, I'll come to you next. Are we really there yet, or are we not? I love Amon-Ra. Love him. But are we trading Chase for him? I don't know. I
don't think I'm there quite yet. I think they're really close, I guess, in terms of draft capital, because my original thought was you should get something small with them, but
yeah, I think that's the way I would word it, is that if I'm getting something out of it, then I can look at it like, you know, they could be even, and if I'm getting this, then I feel good about it. But you know,
Amon-Ra could be right there.
Amon-Ra is so,
he's so consistent.
He's so close.
Yeah, and
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue, Travis.
No. I was just saying, if I'm playing devil's advocate, if I'm thinking from the guy on the other side, which I try to do to a point when I'm making trades, I could say to that person, well, you know, look at the past couple of years. Amon-Ra, he's been the consistent one. You know, he's got the quarterback that might not be better than Burrow, but that's his guy. And Amon-Ra played through that injury last year with, you know, no problem and put up monster numbers anyway. And there's just, you know, something about Amon-Ra. It's like he's got that chip on his shoulder. And
chat, are we doing Amon-Ra or Chase straight up? If you're in a draft right now, drafting number 7 overall, and Chase and Amon-Ra are sitting there, are we going Amon? Or are we going Chase?
Amon-Ra, unless you're in a grandma league.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Who said that? Caleb?
What?
Who said that? Caleb? It sounds like a Caleb comment. Was that Caleb? That figures.
Yeah, that was me.
That figures. What do you mean by that? What do you mean unless you're in a grandma? As if it's that far apart. As Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown are that far apart. What are you talking about, Caleb?
Well, I mean, do you want consistency or no? Like, Chase is just, I mean, no, I love Chase. Like,
no, you don't.
But personally,
you don't love Chase.
I'm taking Amon. Yes, no, I do. No. I'm just taking Amon-Ra pretty clearly over Chase this year at least because Chase is having contract talks and Burrow's at risk of getting injured again. So I think it's a pretty clear gap.
I don't think it's that clear. I think that it's certainly Amon-Ra St. Brown could be the number 4 wide receiver. Chase could be 7. I mean, it's certainly possible. And the injury risk is there. Every day that goes by is concerning. But I don't know that I would have made the statement you said, unless you're in a grandma league, like it's that far apart. It's not. They're neck and neck. But I mean, I think it's close. I think would I struggle on the clock? Yes, but would I ultimately take Amon-Ra St. Brown over Chase? I don't think I would yet in one league. If I had side-by-side leagues, maybe I would mix it up. They're that close. But grandma league material comment, Caleb? I don't think so, bro. Go back on mute. I'll come back to you in a second. All right, hey, hold on one second. Let me answer these questions. It's a good question, though, Hassan. I'm going to lean Chase by a hair, but I think that if this holdout goes further, like let's call it into the end of the weekend, then I start leaning 50-50, and then I just say safety is Amon-Ra, but I'm not sharing the enthusiasm of this being a grandma league for anybody that would consider Chase. 12-man PPR, Allen, Bijan, Warren, London, Cup, Kincaid, Coleman, Christian Watson, Chase Brown, Benson, Wicks, Herbert. How's the team looking? Looking really, really good, minus the injury to Warren. As you notice, Warren dropped off the Moon Man list. People get so mad at me when a guy comes off the Moon Man list after they drafted. What do you want me to do? Keep a player on there that I feel like the momentum shifted a little. They're still very good, still going to be on board. Midseason monster. I think we put Warren on the midseason monster. Let me check, which is fitting because now he has an injury. It's going to take him some time to, I think, reclaim the momentum he had to take the job. Fields was momentum building to take the job from Russ, right? And that's still in motion. And Warren was momentum building to take the job from Najee. With the injury, now that's not going to happen. So mid-season monsters for Warren. Doesn't mean I'm taking him back. So he's down at the bottom here, mid-season monster. But at the end of the day, you now have a risky running back too. Let's see here. Is that his running back too? It is. So, part of me wonders if you could go get Connor so that you have the Connor Benson stack. Love Chase Brown though. That's good. But he is a really good flex play. It's hard to count on him. Maybe you go get Zach Moss to shore up that Chase Brown-Zach Moss combo. That might protect you very well. But love the team. I love that you have London and Cup. That's fantastic. Bijan, Allen, really good team. I think you are one move away from being that 8.0 rank for me, but definitely love the squad. I got Waddle and Nico. Would you do this trade? Which would you rather give up? Waddle or Nico? I'd rather give up. That's a tough one. JT Pitts, Nico or Waddle to get Brees, Kincaid, and Scary Terry. Woo! JT Pitts and Nico. Chat, would you rather have Nico or Waddle? Waddle or Nico? Redraft thinking here. Nico or Waddle?
I like Nico.
Let's just say you throw Waddle in.
It's close.
Let's just say you throw Waddle in. JT, Waddle, Pitts for Brees, Kincaid, Terry. I like Kincaid over Pitts by, I don't want to say quite a bit, but it's significant. And then Brees over JT for me is significant enough. I know some people love JT, but it's significant. It's a whole round difference to me. I don't see JT as a first rounder. So you got a round or two significant upgrade in tight end value. You got a round upgrade from JT to Brees, but it's in the first round. So it's more impacting than the tight end upgrade. And then Scary Terry versus the receiver. Look, Scary Terry could be quietly, I'm not saying to draft him at this evaluation, but he could be quietly as good as Nico or Waddle. I'm going to say give me Brees, Kincaid, Scary Terry. The disrespect to Scary Terry feels a lot and smells a lot like the disrespect people had for DJ Moore while he waited for a quarterback, finally was handed Justin Fields, and became a top 7 wide receiver. Scary Terry's coming for every doubter, and I'm not saying he's top 5 for me, but he's a top 12 wide receiver. The question is, do I get rid of Waddle or do I get rid of Nico? I probably get rid of Waddle. And the reason I say that, I agree with Travis or whoever said it in the chat, is I feel like he's a little bit more injury prone. Obviously, we don't know what Nico could be injury prone too. We don't know, but we know he's not yet. And Waddle just feels he's a second wide receiver on his team. Not saying Nico is or isn't, but he's got massive volume. So does Waddle, but massive volume where we know he's going to be fed more than enough. And I think in a worst case scenario, this is dead even and you're like, it didn't matter. But I think that the injury risk, the likelihood of Waddle not being able to fulfill what Nico can fulfill in his crowded room but high octane offense, I'm just going to bet against Waddle before I bet against Nico. That's it. It doesn't mean I hate Waddle at all. And I know Superfish is probably just absolutely irate about that comment, but you know, it is what it is. We can't please Superfish all the time, but we try to most of the time.
I think, if I could just say quick about Waddle, I think the issue with Waddle, you've touched on it a lot, is the only way he ever becomes a top 5 or top 8 receiver is if Tyreek Hill is hurt or not there. And I can see a way that, we saw, I know they got hurt and stuff, but you saw the numbers Nico put up even with Dell there last year. And Dell could do the same thing. But there's so much volume to go around with the Texans.
Yeah. Tough to say. I definitely say that I feel like Waddle will disappoint me easier is why. But I do the trade because, like I said, McLaurin is closer.
I'd do it either way, yeah.
McLaurin's closer to Waddle than those other two are to their upgrades. This is a $20 hauler from Redskin. Appreciate you dropping the $20 hauler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Thank you for the super chat, and the super chat is as follows: 12-team half PPR, 12 draft spot, 2-player keeper league. Should I keep Achane at 9, Kyren at 7, Puka at 7, or Laporta at 7? I can keep 2. We draft 16 spots, 2 are IDP. So Achane in 9, Kyren in 7, Puka in 7, Laporta in 7. So I'm throwing Laporta out because it's not that he's not great, but it's just not comparable. Kyren, the highest drafted player is Puka, so that's fantastic. But I quietly like Kyren and Achane as much as Puka, so the ADP argument that I usually make there doesn't necessarily apply. I'm going to say give me... You know what? I guess I want to throw a question back to you. Do you think that there's a high likelihood you're able to draft one of Kyren or Achane back? And if you can answer that question for me, then I throw that player back and I keep Puka because I don't think you're getting Puka back. So I would try to use the ADP to your advantage. So if you could let me know which one, or just take it and run with it, which one of Achane or Kyren's most doubted in your league, and do you have a shot at getting them back? If you don't, I probably would keep Achane and Kyren personally, but if there's a shot at getting them back, I would definitely try.
You keep them over Puka if you can't get one of them back?
I probably would, but only because I could still draft a Debo, I could still draft Garrett Wilson, I could still get somebody that's really close to Puka, so I'm not too worried about it. Whereas those running backs, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who you're going to get. Running backs rule the world, in my opinion, still, even though the rest of the fantasy football space and content creators don't think so. I do. 10-team Superflex Dynasty trade. I get Scary Terry and Jerome Ford for Reed in a 3rd round pick. I have JD5. I get Scary Terry and Jerome Ford for Reed in a 3rd round pick. This is where I think people get caught up in the stacking. Like, oh, I have JD5, so should I get McClure? I don't know. I probably say give me the 2 players, but don't let it be because you have JD5 necessarily in redraft, but because Scary Terry can be probably better than Reed, and he's in a prominent role. He's the number 1 receiver for his offense, and I love JD5. It's gonna be a good passing attack. I'm gonna take the number 1. Reed is the number 3, but he plays like a 2, and he's fantastic. But I don't think it's something that you want to smash. You get Ford. Ford's a nice throw-in, and he might get you some trade value later. So I'm gonna take the 2 players. Pretty easy call, my guy. And was that a $10 hauler? Let me see here. That was a $10 hauler moonshot.
To the moon.
Appreciate you dropping that super chat. And then this one right here from Mad. Mad says 12 team from the 2 spot. CD, Achane, Josh Allen, Neighbors, McBride, Rice, Ford. Any thoughts? Salute, Smitty. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mad. CD, Achane, Josh. Look, great team. Fantastic team. Try to upgrade the running back 2 a little bit. Sure. But at what cost? I don't know. I don't think I want to get rid of. Maybe Neighbors is somebody I would toy around with trading for the RB. And you have Wright, so maybe... oh, you have Achane and Wright. Maybe, I wonder if you could get Barkley. I wonder if you could get Jacobs and even do a 2 for 2 of some kind. I love Jacobs right now. Jacobs is a fantastic running back too. I think he's a top 6 to 10 running back this year. He's a Mars man. But you don't necessarily need to make any trades. 12 team from the 2 spot.
The redraft?
Yeah, I didn't say, so I don't know. I'm going to assume redraft. So I would probably say, I attempt to get Kyron with Neighbors. I do my best. If I got to give up something else, I probably would strongly consider it. Ford and Benson and who's your other running back? That's it, right? Ford and Benson and Wright. I definitely think there's room for improvement there. And while I like Neighbors a lot, you're just going to be so thin at wide receiver if you do that, though. It's so tough. I feel like, no offense, Matt, but I feel like something went wrong somewhere. This is a 12-team league, and you got Achane.
I bet he took Neighbors too high, maybe.
Well, who's your first-round pick? Did you take Achane in round
CD.
1? Oh, CD. I didn't even see. There it is.
CD,
Never mind.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes when it's on another line, I get focused in, and then sometimes my screen things catch and get blurry, and it's not like it shows on the channel. CD was sitting there, but I couldn't even read it. CD Lamb. Okay, so CD Lamb. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to trade Neighbors. CD Lamb, Scary Terry is fantastic enough. Rice is a great 3rd wide receiver. I'm trying to trade Neighbors. I'm trying to get Kyron. I'm trying to figure out something like that. Barkley. If I'm going to go with Jacobs, I'm trying to get more. But definitely love the team. And I'd say now that you have CD, I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. I probably read it when I first read it, but CD's fantastic. That's a great team. That's a great team. I was wondering what in the hell you did. I was like, okay, Achane's your first player. So CD, Achane, Josh Allen, Neighbors, you did great. You didn't draft out of turn at all. That was really, really good. I just think Neighbors has got a ton of value, and you need an RB pretty bad. Drafting at the 1.6 tonight, 10-man PPR. Any advice? Best player available, bro. And don't be scared in a 10-man league to go RB quarterback. Don't be scared to take a top 3 quarterback in round 3. Deploy the tripod. It is the way to go in a 10-man, especially a 10-man home league where you'll get Dell, you'll get Debo and Dell, you'll get Cooper Kupp and Dell, Devontae Smith and Cooper Kupp. You'll get 2 wide receivers that good by even punting your wide receiver until round number 4.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
Definitely stay on best player available track. I don't want you to detour from that if maybe that screams go balance. Balance is always kind of the best way to go if best player available guides you there. I just think that in 10 man's best player available 9 times out of 10 is RB. But take his chase card away, says E-Rock. E-Rock's not happy with you I forget who it was now that wanted to trade Chase away. Love Bijan, Achane, Caleb. Love Bijan, Achane, Dell, DK, Kincaid, Reed, Mostert. Love Bijan, Achane, Dell, DK, Kincaid, Mostert. It's good squad, Thomas. Good squad. Keep your eyes peeled for the waiver wire ad. I think that's needed for that team to be the best team by far in the league, but it's certainly in the running. And a lot of teams are like that. I draft all the time where I'm like, I like my team, but I'm pretty even with 2 or 3 other teams. A lot of the time, you're never going to walk out as the clear bona fide overall team. Some of it comes down to management, start bench, all that. But if you stay on the waiver wire and you get the Puka, you get the Kyron, you get the McKinnon from years past, there's always somebody. If you get that player, it's over. It's over. So you got to stay on your toes. Make sure you're that guy. Rockout says check your DMs. Let's go to Rockout's DM and see what he's rapping about today.
Touchdown, going live, certified. This is how we go. Kyron, this is how we gotta get it now. Kyron.
Thank you for the rap Rockout dropping bars, straight bars. I'm surprised he hasn't been signed to a record label yet, and he's still hanging around with us. You know, who the hell knows? All right, go back over to Ryan Kilpatrick. I'm so sorry about the wait, bro. Ryan, what can I do for you? It's about an 85-minute wait.
What's going on, Smitty, really quick? Planning on drafting JD5 with my 103.
Super
104,
flex.
I'm sorry. No, it's a 2QB.
Mandatory 2QB?
Yeah.
Okay, mandatory 2QB dynasty startup?
No, I took over a team, Orphan.
This is a rookie draft?
So I'm basically sending over a trade where I'm shipping Dak, JT, my 3rd round pick. I'm trying to get the 103 with Saquon, and I'm drafting JD5 at 4 and Keon at 7.
So this is a rookie-only draft.
Yeah, it's a rookie only.
How in the hell are you going to get JD5 at 1.4 in a not a super flex, a 2 QB mandatory rookie draft? Are these guys sleeping at the wheel? Like, how in the hell is this possible? Like, the hype is catching up, man. This doesn't feel like it did months ago where we're the only ones saying JD5. Can't believe people don't see JD5. This is something that's completely different, bro. What's making you feel that you're getting JD5 at the 4? I'm not trying to give you a hard time on it. I'm just trying to figure out what makes you.
No. So the 1-1 is going Marvin Harrison. He's got 2 great quarterbacks, including Kyler. 2nd overall pick. That's up in the air. So I don't know if he's going to take JD5 or look to grab a receiver. But I do have the 1.4, so I'm thinking if I go and trade for the 1.3, I can just double up and grab JD5 and grab Neighbors.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy if you fell. And I also don't buy into. I also don't.
Caleb 1-2.
Yeah, somebody might. I don't buy into this whole notion that people let you know what they're doing. I think it's ridiculous when people say that. Not saying you necessarily, Kilpatrick, but just like, oh, number 1's going this, and then number 2 says he's whoever tells anybody what they're doing. Whenever I tell anybody what I'm doing, it's never what I'm doing. It's always something different. Whenever someone says, hey, God, there are a lot of good wide receivers still on the board. They want you to take a wide receiver because their running back is sitting there at the top of the running back list and ready to go. There's no way anybody's telling anybody what they're doing. Nobody. There's nobody doing that. That's not a thing. But I realize you're playing a guessing game here and you're trying to figure it out. But if you get JD5 at 4, bro, as I told the other caller, I quit my job. I come work for you.
Right. So let me just break it down in this scenario. Let's say that JD5 does not fall. Right.
So reality.
Would you still trade the right? So would you still trade Dak and JT and the 3rd rounder for the 103 and Saquon?
Let me write this down. This one sounds complicated. My brain's fried by this point in the show. Say it to me one more time. Dak.
Right. So if you were to move Dak and JT in the third rounder.
For what?
You would get the 103 and Saquon.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's so tough because I mean, look, Dak is great, but if you're pretty damn sure that this is JD5, I want Barkley and JD5 over Dak and JT. And there's similar. I know everyone thinks JT is this young, stallion that's just going to play for 5-6 fresh more years. There's not that big of a difference between JT and Barkley in terms of how many years I think you get out of JT. Maybe there's a year, 2 year difference potentially, but he's had trouble delivering for a little while now. Like, let's not pretend JT's this guy who's been consistently always on the field. Like, there's a lot to be desired and a lot to hope for JT. Sure, but Barkley's going into probably one of the best situations a running back could possibly go into. Best offensive line he's ever seen. One of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. And there's a possibility you get 2 amazing years out of Barkley. And there's a possibility that if you're lucky and he stays healthy, you get 3 out of JT. And then they both are kind of avoids or something. So you give me JD5 over Dak all day long. This is my preference. There's some now value to this as well. And sometimes I play a little bit more for the now than a lot of other people do. And that's because, and I'm not saying that you don't know your league and this couldn't fall apart. They're the best guys ever. But I've seen the best dynasty leagues fall apart within a 2 or 3 year unraveling of 1 or 2 guys leaving, and then it's chaos and then whatever. So give me the now that also still has a whole bunch of damn future in it. JD5 and Barkley by a mile.
I was just curious, who are his other quarterbacks right now? Yeah, as of right now, he's got. I know he's got Mahomes.
No, you. Who's your other quarterback?
No, yours. Oh, my quarterback. I got Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young, and obviously Dak. This is an orphan that I'm taking over. Okay. Yeah. So if you could get 85, I like that.
I'd do it, bro. And on top of that, like, you're still getting neighbors. You're gonna have a good team. It's good foundation.
Yeah. Once again, like, I have no idea what the other 2 guys are gonna pick. I can't even move up into the 1.1 or the 1.2. They're dead set on not moving it. So this is like my best shot at JD5.
All right, Kilpatrick. Hang tight if you got another one. Just mute yourself real quickly. Let me go to Caleb and then to Zach. Caleb, you're live.
All right, Smitty. So the other guy pretty much asked my question about taking Bijan with the 101, and you answered it. So I guess my question now is, after I take Bijan 101, because I'm set on that. I don't want my Bijan card revoked anymore. So after that, in a 12-man, who should I take wide receiver? Because I have 24 picks until my next turn. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the strategy after that?
This is Zach I'm talking to?
No.
Oh, Caleb. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've taken away your Bijan card a couple times. I don't think you got it back. You said you don't want your Bijan card taken anymore. It's already gone.
No.
I haven't given it. I haven't given it back. I haven't given it back.
You never revoked it.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
There, I fixed it. Now it's been revoked. Okay. Bijan.
Talk himself out of the Bijan.
Yeah, you didn't even have to mention it. You didn't have to mention anything. I wouldn't have known. Bijan Robinson, you're afraid of what you're doing at the 24-25 turn?
Yeah, correct.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen downstream that far. All I can tell you is that in best ball, you have the Kyrans and H-Hands, and players like that default. In non-best ball, you traditionally don't. So if one of those guys were to fall, obviously, I'd smash the hell out of that. I love Debo there. I love Cooper Kupp there in redraft. Is this redraft?
Yeah, it's redraft.
Yeah, so Cooper Kupp's starting to become a good 2-3 turn player. As long as you justify it as like he's your third drafted player. Like, would I go Bijan, Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp? Sure, because I'm a wild man.
Yeah, that's a little wild.
You really think that's wild?
I mean, I don't know if I'm
Finish
taking
him.
Josh Allen with my first pick in the third round.
Call terminated.
He's been hung up on so many times. John, call in again. I missed you. Zach, you're live.
What's up, Smitty?
Josh
I have an auction draft coming up. And we have 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 3 flexes. How do I go about drafting that kind of team? Because it's so deep, and it's 12 teams in the league.
Again, this is like you're asking me to read way downstream on something that you got to be on the clock for. Everybody drafts different. Say it again. It's 2 running backs. What?
It's 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 3 flexes.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, bro, that doesn't mean anything to me. Because if anything, you're given the luxury of doing whatever the hell you want with those other. If it was 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then a flex or 2 flexes, it'd be different because you're forced to start 3 of them. You're only forced to start 2 wide receivers. So positionally, doesn't do a thing for me. Does it make me maybe want to explore the later QB process because I could fill one of those flex spots a little bit differently? Maybe, but at the same time, man, I just think that when you get a quarterback that can throw, like in Mahomes' case, 40 to 45 touchdowns, and at cost of entry, there's no better pick than Patrick Mahomes in 2024. There's no better pick. There's just no better pick. And if you get him in the 3rd round, let's say, you have such an advantage, and you can get the Rice, the Hollywood, the Worthy. Not that the stack is a necessity, but you can get those guys in the flex spots pretty easily. I think at least one of them in one of those flex spots potentially. You might even get 2 of them. It just depends on the grandmas you're drafting with. But I don't have any sort of set process for you to go through with that format. That format doesn't really indicate, oh, hey, wait a minute, we're doing something different here. It doesn't. Flow with draft determines everything.
Okay, and it's an auction draft. Is there anyone that you're specifically targeting in that format?
No top guy. I don't want CMC. I don't want Lamb or Chase or Hill. I don't want probably that could eliminate the Mahomes approach depending on the cost. Would I much rather have a Love or a JD5 or a combination of JD5 and Love at like $9 total versus what will probably be $18 to $25 for one of the top 3 quarterbacks? Usually the top 3 quarterbacks go for a boatload more than QB6, and it's like literally like $20 difference. It's wild. But you want to stay on top of the bidding and make sure you get Mahomes. If he's only going for $14, then do it, out of 200 as an example. But my biggest advice for auction is to never call out your players. Never. You get impatient and you want to call your player out. It's a big mistake. Always let your players come out of the chute as late as possible, because people spent money and they're not going to overspend. Worst thing you could do is get on the clock and go, H-Chan! Because then everyone's going to bid on him. If you wait and wait and wait, let someone else call out H-Chan. The second worst thing you can do, he'll go cheaper. The second worst thing you could do is be involved in the bidding early on. You don't want a lot of people throwing bids on somebody because it makes them look popular. It makes them look like a hot commodity. You don't want to, when a player goes on the board, everyone's waiting and it starts going, do, and it shoots up really quickly. Everyone's like, oh, damn, everyone wants this guy. You don't want to add fuel to that fire. You want to wait until it starts to simmer and then kind of enter into the bidding. So those are my biggest pieces of advice.
Okay, for sure. So you wouldn't spend up on really any position, no more than $50 would be the most.
I mean, I'd rather have H-Chan JD5 than than go spend $20 more on CMC. However, a lot of times, bro, sometimes that first running back off the board goes for $58 and then the next 2 go for 65 or 68 or 69 or 70, and you're like, holy crap, that guy was a steal. Then running back 5, 6, 7, 8 go for the same amount as the guy that went 1 overall. So you got to really be mindful. You don't just cement yourself into an approach here either. You got to play the bidding game, and you can't be a part of watching somebody fly off the board and go, damn, I should have bid on him. Like, be a part of it. Don't ever bid on something you don't want, though, because if you get stuck with it, it's the worst. But, like, don't sit there and go, oh, man, I can't believe he went for $40. Why didn't you bid? Why didn't you bid 41? You bidding 41 might have triggered a bidding war to get him back to 60. And then people are spending money. You want everybody spending money. Call out the biggest name you can find that you don't want when you're on the clock. Get money off the board, bro. Make everybody dirt poor as fast as you can. All right, later, bro. Appreciate you. Good luck.
Thanks, Smitty. Appreciate it.
Scuba Steve, final thoughts.
Yeah, Smitty, I was just listening to you about Mahomes. I just, one of those guys, whether it's Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, I think I'm just going to try to target in one of those third or fourth rounds. Just because, like what you said, the advantages. Especially because, like, my first couple drafts, I'm in a 10-team league. And I do know that in those leagues, sometimes it's easier to get one of those guys as opposed to, like, a 12-team league. So if I can just try to get one of those guys, I just want to target them.
Good talk, Scuba. Agreed.
All right.
Anything else, bro?
Just about, there was I've been listening and a couple of talk. I noticed that you talked about DK Metcalf. What about JSN? What are you interested in him? Do you think that, like, Tyler Lockett's going to have, like, I know you're talking about, like, a lot of older players. Do you think that this might be the year that Lockett might actually, like, fall off and like, there could be, like, more room to grow for, like, JSN?
Well, even if he doesn't fall off, this is the first time JSN's going to be on the field a majority of the time now, because it's not 12 personnel anymore. It used to be 2 wide receiver sets, bro, in Seattle. The most boring, mundane offense you can find. That's why Walker struggled. You know, you don't stretch the defense out. What do you have happen? You have a more crowded box. So Walker's got a more crowded box. He's trying to navigate that space as a space navigator does. And now that you have 3 wide receiver sets, probably, I'm just guessing, 70% of the time instead of 20 or 30% of the time, it's flipped. Now all of a sudden you have the defense spread out. You also have JSN on the field more. And sometimes if JSN's even playing that slot wide receiver role, I don't know if what Lockett and him will do in terms of rotating that. They'll probably both be all over the field. I think Ryan Grubb's going to try and move everybody all around. DK's going to play in the slot. DK's going to be all over the field. DK's going to the moon because Ryan Grubb's going to absolutely open up his route tree. We've seen DK do a go route. Okay, do a 5-yard hook. Like, DK's been limited, been handcuffed. Now he's in an offense that's vertical. And so JSN being on the field will absolutely garner him way more attention than anybody's probably expecting, because they just see Seattle, they see Geno, they just think it's boring. It kind of is. There's some worry about Geno and Howell, and will this be an effective enough duo for Grubb to get what he needs to get out of it? I'm very disappointed in so many of these these head coaches that didn't put their offensive coordinators like Grubb, who doesn't have a lot of control, in a better position. Like, hey, here's Justin Fields, Ryan Grubb. He can be had for a 4th rounder. If we make this 4th rounder conditional to or 6th rounder conditional to a 4th rounder, like the Steelers offered, if we just convert that into a 4th rounder period, I bet you we could steal Fields right out from under the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why don't we throw a 4th rounder at Justin Fields? You know, why not bring him in? That pisses me off, frankly. But I still think that Ryan Grubb's system will make DK ultra productive. We're going to see an expanded route tree. We're going to see this guy do things we've never seen before, and I think he's capable of them. And people judge him for stuff that he had no control over. But I truly believe that, JSN's got tremendous wide receiver 3 value in fantasy. Probably my 3 favorite wide receivers that are in the same bucket, same territory, nearly the same ADP. Well, 4 wide receivers. Keon Coleman, Jamison Williams, Brian Thomas Jr., and JSN. Those are 4 guys that are consistently there as your wide receiver 3, maybe even a little bit later. And I love rotating the hell out of them in my drafts because I want shares of all of them. Coleman's my favorite. I think BT is maybe, I would say maybe one of the most talented of the entire group. 17 touchdowns in college would definitely speak to that. I love JSN. I think Worthy can even be thrown into this mix for sure, although he's starting to go earlier and earlier. But yeah, JSN's absolutely one of the very intriguing wide receiver 3-4s for any team this year. More of a wide receiver 4 in non-best ball.
All right, because I have been listening, and I know you're interested in DK, so I'm going to be in different drafts, so I am going to take your advice and diversify myself. So if I get DK and a couple other drafts and I don't get him, I'm just going to try to get like JSN or Keon Coleman, just so I have like some of these different guys like you're talking about, because I don't want to have too many of the same guys on on my bench or whatever the case may be, and some of these guys, they don't pop off. So I am going to take that type of advice, man. So I appreciate it.
All right, man. Later. Appreciate you. Travis, any final thoughts on anything today? I'll probably be back tonight, so that'll be good.
Yeah, just touching on the Seattle situation. I think they might have gone and got that quarterback in Howell. I think now they could be wrong on him, but from everything I've read, they're really high on him. And I think if Gino either gets hurt or he's not cutting it, I think they're going to go right to Howell. It might not be till, they're going to give Gino a chance, but I think they view Howell as more than most teams do.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what Grubb can do with what he's being given. I think it'll be very good considering what he's given, but I just hope Gino. I don't want Howell in there because Howell got a shot and he failed to deliver in many ways, even though he can throw the ball downfield, which is good. Like worst case scenario, that's not the worst backup to have go in and get DK the ball. Like I'm pretty happy about that if that's my backup plan, but I'm really hoping Gino does what he did a couple years ago and just makes everybody go, yeah, like, why are we not higher on this guy? Like, I hope he has that kind of year, and I'll be very much rooting for it. I probably won't own him anywhere, but I'll be very much happy to see Geno Smith do what he did 2 years ago and be like, okay.
And Gino did say, they were asking about him, and he did say, I feel like I'm a down-the-field thrower. So if he's more comfortable in the system, if he can stay healthy, very, very well may see that like he did a couple years ago, So
yeah, we'll see what happens.
It'll be interesting.
All right, man.
Thanks, Smitty.
All right, we'll see you tonight. Appreciate you. Thanks to the Mod Squad in the building. Sam with the $2 hauler says 1 to 10. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Jacobs, Jamar Chase, Dell, Terry. Very good. Not the biggest Henry guy right now. I admit I've been back and forth on it all offseason. And I'm not out. I'm not calling a total bust, but I'm calling panic chamber-esque right now. I don't know. It's really tough because he's got a better offensive line than he had, in 2023. That 2023 specific offensive line in Tennessee was bad. Not that they haven't done some upgrades. Good for Spears and Tony Pollard. It's like Fields. Got nothing, and then he leaves, and the Chicago starts upgrading things. It's ridiculous. Same thing with Henry, but Henry still has a major downgraded line from when Gus had it last year. So it's panic chamber type of offensive line. I'm going to say this is a 7 out of 10. Pending, it's a really good team. Pending 7.5, pending Henry. And you need Henry and Jacobs to both ball out. If they do, this is playing like an 8.5. So I don't even think you need to make any changes. You just need to hope that Henry does bring it. You know what I mean? And you drafted him for a reason. Don't trade him because I say so. Like, this is a league where you got Henry. I think everybody should have a league where they have Derrick Henry in case he does do it one more season and he has 15 touchdowns and 999 yards. Like, he's capable of doing it. Has he dropped off? Yeah. Is he going to be fed the ball a ton in the PPR game or the receiving game? Probably not as much as we want, because, you know, there's Andrews, there's Flowers. Lamar's not necessarily making, you know, top 25 wide receivers like he's not printing them out left and right. This is not necessarily for that. So it's hard to like imagine that there's this ton of plethora of targets to go around. But I still think, you know, if they're smart in Baltimore, I think they would throw to him a little more, because Henry's going to have a problem hitting the hole. Bad offensive line, the hole's going to close quicker, and he's losing a step clearly. Like, you could see it. He's losing a step. It's not that he's not strong anymore. It's not that he's not agile for his size, but he is losing a step. And if you remember Derrick Henry's beginning of his career, he couldn't beat out Deion Lewis or DeMarco Murray for the starting job for a little bit of time. It wasn't like one season. He couldn't do it. He didn't know how to hit the hole. He was too big for his own good. And then he learned, and he got coached up, and he finally learned how to hit the hole quick enough before it closed. And I'm just afraid we're inching back toward something that is going to resemble a little bit more the beginning of his career than the middle part of his career. So tough to say. But good team. I'd say you're 7. I'll give you 7.8. How's that? 7.8. Just depending on Henry and Jacobs. And I do think Jacobs will deliver what we want him to. Achane over Henry all day. Definitely, Fred. Definitely. Achane's a top 12 overall player. I don't understand why people don't understand that. I don't understand why they don't understand that we understand that they don't. We got gifted memberships. I don't know why these aren't coming through. Let me see if I can adjust something. Usually when I do this, it does kick it back off in solid fashion. Let's see if I can pull this up and reignite the notification on this particular bad boy. Turn it on. Turn it off. Turn it on. Turn it off. Let's see if it populates. We got 10 gifted memberships from Jay Smart. Jay, appreciate you dropping the 10 gifted memberships, my guy. Jay Smart to the mother freaking moon. Raphael got one. D-Town got one. Prodigy got one. Dub got one. JR got one. Landon got one. Logic got one. One Love got one. Matt got one. Appreciate you. Worthy or Coleman? I'm going to go Coleman by a hair, but I love both of them. I love Worthy. I want both of them. It's a really, really good question, and I go back and forth on that over and over. Thank you to my mod squad. Any other super chats that get sent to me before I hit the end button, I will handle it. For any reason you drop one and I hit the end button and I don't get back to you, please repost it in the comments of the video. Appreciate every single one of you. And on that note, let's go with a little
Your wide receiver from the combine. He can't catch. He
Catches.
Many say he won't make it at the next level.
Enough. Watch me. I must go back and make it right.
Xavier Worthy. He can't catch. Just fast. He won't make it.
Catch this. Great catch. Wow, nice catch. He's not overrated catching the ball.
He can really catch.
It's Chiefs season. Mahomes is scoring 45-plus touchdowns.
Don't forget to sign up on Underdog Fantasy. We draft at midnights. Lately, I've been trying to draft without you guys, though, and then just go live, just so you guys can see me in action, do and deploy things that I can't do when we're in Snipe City. Much more valuable content anyway. But when we draft, you guys can partake as well, side by side, and deploy your strategies. And not to mention, you know, if you do this now, brand new announcement, this $250 is going up to $1,000. So not only will Underdog match your deposit 50%, up to $250, they're now moving that to up to $1,000. So that means if you deposit $2,000, they'll match it up to $1,000. 50% match on the first deposit up to $1,000. That's phenomenal. And you get a bonus pick. So hit the link that I just dropped in the live chat. I just pinned it. Code Smitty gets it done, but the link inserts Code Smitty for you. Just make sure you're ready to rumble when we draft. And don't forget that the in-season's approaching, and the in-season is all about the Wild Wild West, the spacemen, Mars, Saturn, the moon. That's all off-season stuff. The in-season stuff is the Wild Wild West. Here is a taste. These are our two outlaws.
Wanted.
An in-season feature.
The top most wanted outlaws. These outlaws are on the run. Wanted. The top most wanted outlaws. These outlaws are on the run.
These are the first two outlaws most wanted. Wild Wild West is coming for everybody. In-season content, in-season theme. Spacemen will get a rest until the off-season, which we'll be very happy to see the Spacemen, the Marsmen, the Saturnmen, the Moonmen back. But for right now, that's what we got. Get ready for the Outlaws. Get ready for the theme. Appreciate you all. Hit that like button on the way out the door. 405 of you still in the building. 204 thumbs up.
Get lammed.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan. Bijan.
Hey, Chan. Hey, Chan is the man. His haters call him small.
But he is 9 feet tall.
Chan is the man.
Bring it in. Bring it in, boys. Keep coming. All right. Set them down. Set them down right there. More, more, more. Perfect. See you all later tonight. I'll be back. Don't you worry. I'll be back. Hit that like button on the way out the door. Subscribe if you're new. Let's roll.